Hey guys, Bolt here. I gotta make this quick because I'm losing time. I have to go to bed here soon. I have an event tomorrow. This weekend's gonna be a mess. Anyways, let's go to Walten Files 4. First, let me get the complaints out of the way. Art style. Do not mess with it. It's amazing, it's janky, it goes into the illusion of it all. And when it comes to why is it taking 2 years to come out with this shaky of an idea, leave it alone because 5 and 6 are right around the corner. That's the whole reason. 3 episodes were worked on for 2 years. That way it can go bam, bam, bam. And also Martin has been busy. He's got a life too. So back off. Anyways, chapters will be in the description and you can go along your line. But let's get into a sweet little summary of 1, 2, and 3. Last 3 takes have been me going through all the videos, and it takes me about 30 minutes, and I'm not doing that. So what you need to know is the main characters that set up the franchise. I think the biggest thing we need to bring up is three. No, not that. Walten Files 3 is a big thing because 3 has a lot of dates in it, and a lot of dates that save us some time. So actually, I'll be right back. BRB. We're back. Anyways, so Walten Files 3 has a lot of dates. So we meet through Walten Files 3. We learn of Linda Thompson right here. So Limson Thompson, or married to Crankin. So this is the wife of one of the founders named Felix Crankin. We'll get into that in a little bit. But anyways, through her vision, we get to see some years prior to Bond's Burgers. Bond's Burgers was established in 1974. So a lot of the dates that she reveals are years before. The earliest we learn about is 1964. Yeah, October 30th of 1964. She's in a relationship with Felix, who is a founder. Felix Crankin. He starts to drink in 1964, and he comes home late, and she doesn't know what to do. The year later, in August 23rd of 1965, she moves in with him. He gets worse, and we meet his Felix's co-founder and best friend Jack, Jack Walten, who they went to college together and made this idea of let's make a restaurant together. And basically in 1964 they start talking about it. Felix gets stressed, starts drinking. Here in 1965 they pitch their idea to a company known as Cyberfun Tech. And this makes him even more stressed because now he's got a bigger company to talk to. And the other person we get to meet here is Rosemary, who is the wife of Jack, and we get to talk about the kids. There's 3 kids of the Waltons. In 3, we learned that in 1960 they had their daughter Sophie. Sometime in between 60 and 65 they had a son named Ed, probably in 63-ish, or 63 sounds like a good bet. And then in 65 they give birth to Molly. And then in 70, Christmas Day of 1970, Jack and Felix make a gray rabbit doll that has animatronic piece looking like to Molly and Ed, and Molly names it Rocket. And this becomes her favorite toy. Ed he likes the gesture, but he does not really have any attachment to the rabbit. Later on, she keeps misplacing it, and he's like, leave the rabbit. I don't really care about it. We don't need that stupid little thing. Anyways, Felix gets even more bad and gets the seasonal depression. It's been a few years, so they're about halfway to the establishment, and he's pretty bad. And Linda has talked to him about such, but he doesn't change anything. Here we go. In take 3, I couldn't find this. January 3rd, so about 2 weeks later. Wait, no. 3 years later, he gets submerged in the project, and he gets very stressed and unstable. And he becomes a very big alcoholic, and she starts to dwindle and doesn't know what to do, and she starts getting very affected by this. So she's trying to fix him, but eventually she does find her out. She really loves him and doesn't want to do. She wants to help him. But another 4 years later, when the establishment of Bond's Burgers is in development, May 2nd, she has enough of Felix's drinking and leaves him. And she goes to Hurricane, Utah, which is the birthplace of Freddy's. But I don't think this is in this universe. This is supposed to be in the imagination of this creator. Basically, she's like, your alcoholism is affecting me too much. We're not healthy together. I need to go. I wish you the best of luck. I still love you. Just, we need to separate, and we need to have our own lives and be two strangers again. And of course, Felix says he's sorry and couldn't. He doesn't tell her. She leaves him a letter, and he starts to grieve. But the very same day, Jack asks him for a favor about Ed and Molly going to a school event, and later that night he picks them up, but there's a drinking zone because it's the 70s. Why not include alcohol where the adults are? And they really should have limited that poor soul. So if he was already a little wobbly, he shouldn't be drinking when he's got kids to pick up. What are these teachers / supervisors thinking? Anyways, he takes them. They get back home. They're about to head home, but he's been drinking. So they get into a car accident. It ends up killing Ed and Molly. They take over the rocket plushie after Felix buries them in a forest nearby. And he's in a drunken state, so he's grieving. He's stressed, so he's just in a very fast-paced state. He's just like, I don't know what to do. I gotta cover the bodies. My life is over. And basically, right after this, it goes to heck. So now that Ed and Molly are possessing Rocket, another entity that we do get a little clue in episode 4, it takes over Bond, the main animatronic, who's a Blue Bonnie character. And he ends up just starting to kill the founding parts and the big parts of the company. We meet Susan Woodings, who is the head engineer of the animatronics. She basically makes all the features and all that, makes them how they're supposed to be. She's the one who kind of made the casings and all that. Basically, she's the finalized part, where Cyberfun Tech, the partner to Bunny Smiles Incorporated, provides the mechanical parts. And anyways, in episode 2, we learn that Susan stays late one night to fix Bond because he's been acting weird. He's been possessed at this point by this other force, and it kills her and puts her into... it doesn't kill her. In this area, instead of killing and possessing, it barely kills them, and it makes them... it barely... so close to death that they're still breathing, but they are paralyzed. And it puts them in the body of Banny, who's the Pink Bunny character, and basically that's their new body. Eventually, in episode 3, we learned that there was another employee named Charles who ends up getting stuffed and almost killed and stuffed into Buzu, who's the ringleader character. And then we learned that Rosemary, actually no, we learned that Jack Walten has went missing, which actually, while I'm thinking about it, when did Jack Walten go missing? I tried looking up episode 1 because I thought that the date is very scrambled. Okay. That's weird. Okay. Okay, so after the death of Ed and Molly, which we do learn that Jack and Rosemary do learn about their kids, but Jack does some kind of thing that goes missing, and we don't know if he was killed and stuffed in another robot, or he's just somewhere else, or he's dead in a ditch somewhere. A theory was that Felix and him got into a fight. Felix won and ended up killing him. But anyways, it looks like he goes missing the month after all the accidents. Because May 3rd is when... So May 2nd, Linda leaves him. The next day, Ed and Molly are killed. And then the next month, Jack goes missing. Rosemary comes in to be like, hey, where's my husband? She gets lured back to the back, gets killed and stuffed into Shaw the sheep. And then now that the head mechanic, Charles was a big person, we'll learn in episode 4. Another main person, which was Rosemary, she had a hand in it, we'll learn in episode 4. And then Jack, who's a co-founder, all missing, dead. And Felix is the only one, and he's an alcoholic who's stressing and depressed and is in a very emotional state. So I think the Bon's Burgers was open for a few days or at least a week. They only did certain parties, and that was it. And basically, right after that, it was like they had to pack up. And then in 75, they stored everything in the... Actually, let me figure that out. In episode 2, we learn a little bit about... come on. Ads. There is a file cabinet part in this episode. Where are you? Did we seriously not see that in this episode? Episode 1? Sorry guys, I'm taking forever. Episode 1? Oh, and then just to let you guys know, to take down a theory, a big theory a lot of people had was that Felix was killed and took over Bon. He's alive, and in 75 he makes the relocation project. You can't be dead and stuffed in an animatronic if you're still doing moves like that. I'm not seeing it. Did I miss a thing? Oh, here we go. In July, I think this is. In July, or like either early or mid 75. So early, I think that's February or July 23rd of 1975. They made the canine facility to put everything in there from Bon's Burgers so they can relieve the location because they couldn't afford it because they're not running a business. And in 70, in late or like late mid or very late 75, they make the relocation project where basically they start making merchandise, games, comics, and all that other stuff, and cartoons to make up some money. Basically, I'll put some little bit more money into it to try to make even more money to attempt another relaunch. And I think, let's see, the next time we learn is in 78, October of 78. There's 3 technicians that get sent into K9 to fix the animatronics. Wait, no. Yeah, 78. 78. Was it October? I'm sorry. I don't know what I'm talking about. Oh, so it just says late 78? Oh, come on, Daryl. Okay, I know Rosemary. Here we go. July of 78. So between 12 and 14, 3 technicians from Bunny Smiles get sent in there to fix the animatronics and reprogram them and get ready for the relocation project. But one of them goes hunting and being a little Nancy Drew, finds the back doors, which leads into a hallway of scraps and parts and discarded things that weren't meant to see the light of day. We see Rocket be stored in there, so basically Felix is throwing away his problems by sealing that away. We meet a new animatronic known as Billy the Clown, who is basically the birthday celebrator. He basically had tapes put in to play songs at the table of the birthday boy or girl, or they at this point. Anyways, they would sing their original birthday song, but we learned through the tape it was recorded over of a kill list of all the people that were either stuffed or something's going to happen to these people. We already learned about Rosemary, Charles, and Susan, but on that kill list is Jack and Sophie. Jack, since he's been missing, he's either been killed and stuffed, or he will eventually get stuffed. And Sophie, being on that kill list, will eventually run into that issue too, and I think she already has by the time we... someone has found these tapes. So it's not said when, I don't think. It just says a guy named Anthony has found these tapes and is replaying them. And basically it looks like maybe early 2000s someone has found these tapes. So after 78, we move into 82, where we have Brian Stells. He's the caretaker for K9. He goes in to, fix it up a little bit, clean it up a little bit, but Bond has something else to say and kills him. Or he, does his normal break you until you're barely alive. But we learn that within a week of Brian getting killed, Sophie, still alive, if her family died in 74, in 8 years, she was prescribed a lot of meds to forget about the trauma, and she's 22 now. She's in college. She's probably living or in the same dorm as a girl named Ginny, and they're best friends or more. And basically, they learn of a beta testing arcade machine in the basement of their living space, or the college dorm, and it is of Bunny Farm, which is a Bunny Smiles arcade game they released to make the relocate project happen. And basically, Ginny's played it. It has some glitches. That's it. But Sophie plays it, and because it recognizes that it's Sophie, because she's on the kill list, she gets shown the horrors of what's happened back in '74. Also, we have a little. She gets shown what happened to Ashley and a little bit of Brian, I'm pretty sure, too. So basically, she's shown the lore. But we learn that she has gotten curious, even though she's horrified and it's hurting her. Like, she learns about her siblings dying. She learns that her dad's been missing. She learns that her mom and the two family friends have been dead for some time. But we learn that she gets curious and goes to K9 herself through the very first Walten Files episode. Right here on her at Sophie. Sophie eventually becomes a caretaker for K9, probably in the very same year that she plays the arcade game and Brian has died. And there's a high chance Bond here has killed and stuffed her in a suit. Which is sad, which means most likely the entire Walten family is dead. If Jack is either in Bond or the other character, no one knows where he came from. Speaking of which, where is that character? That is episode 3, I think. I'm sorry, episode 3. Where are you? What is this guy's name? Memory Bear, I think this is what it's called. Wait, let me go to Walten Files character wiki. I know. I'll show you here in a second what I'm talking about. Do we not know? Okay, so we know about Bond now in episode 4. Anthony is the one who finds the tape. Ashley's the one who died in episode 2. Banny, Billy, Bond, Boozoo, Brian Styles, Stellis. I'm sorry, what? I'm sorry, what's that? I didn't click on that, did I? Please don't tell me I clicked on that. Here we go. I'm sorry, the what? So apparently the Waltons had a dog. Okay. that's weird. The Waltons had a dog. We have CBF 72, which is an Indo basically. Chris Easter year. We hear about this guy in. Oh. Okay. So. Okay. So in episode 4, we learned that Chris is an employee who was a part of the Relocate project, but he was also a part of the 74 launch because he was mentioned to be he knew about Felix's drunk and issues. Okay. I did not know that Chris was actually worth mentioning in these videos. God, I'm almost done, guys. I'm beating my time so far, but wiki wants to be crap. Christine Marshall. A lot of these people I doubt. Yeah, a lot of these things are like side characters of other things. Hillary, Hindi, Holly the horse is just from episode 3. William Wood Sheep. Yeah, I really wish they didn't throw in the characters from the side stuff. That'd make it so hard. Show Bear, that's what it is. Show Bear. Oh, come on. Show Bear. Oh, come on. Wi-Fi, stop being crumb. This guy, Show Bear. He might be Jack. We do get to figure out about that smile though in episode 4. He's got something pretty. He's got to do something about the story, but he's probably on the bad side because he gets Sophie roped in. So, anyways, so Sophie gets conscious about this stuff, goes for it, and then later on we meet Anthony, who has found these tapes. So Sophie's probably dead. Anyways, in episode 4, going on to episode 4 information. Ding, 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 ding. 26 minutes in, we're finally going on to the part that we need to go over. Okay, I'm not going to play it, but so basically this is a retelling of Ed and Molly's school play. They found Rocket. They go find Felix at the bar. That's known as the adult zone now instead of the drinking zone. That way, kid, it makes it more understanding. A bunch of advertisements. Right here, no one knows why there's a baby. Buy this bunny. Red eyes here on Mr. Bond. This is a category, it's got parts. Bond's the promo, Cyberfun promo, shot join movement, BSI cleaning process. We get a lot of 70s style graphics, cartoon stuff. There's a little callback to the death of Rosemary in Shaw's animation somewhere. There we go. This is that's where she got led back to. Let's kill the audio. I'm not supposed to show that. Cyberfun makes this stuff. They have a new. This is Cybertelly, who is their not associate. Crap. Can't remember what it's called. But he's like the person that's the face of it. Here we learn that Rosemary was the creator for the designs. She drew the characters the way they were supposed to be meant to be. Right here we learn that Susan was the one who created all the features and the casings to the animatronics. Something here about Charles, no one knows about that much yet. What's weird is Banny's eyes are flashing when we have Susan in the room. I decoded this. I don't know if I'm the first one because it's very easy. Anyways, Mr. Crankin, this is this is Norman. I'm sending you this letter on behalf of our deal between Bunny Smiles and Cyberfun Tech. Most importantly, the well-being of our Cyberfun staff. we've been getting a lot of complaints about a member of our staff going missing, who is highly associated with you and your team, Susan Woodings. Susan is a CyberFun tech employee, has been missing for a week, and now here is a CyberFun tech. We are working as hard as we can to try and manage to get in contact with her. This is perhaps. Is there perhaps any details you could hand us to help locate our missing employee? I'm going to be entirely honest with you, Mr. Kranken, and tell you I have a lot of questions and suspicions about whatever is going on with your company. Whatever it is, it's making both of our companies and both your company and mine look bad in public light. So again, if there's anything that would help us find Susan, write us back immediately. Thank you. I'll see you Monday. So we get introduced to Norman, who's probably head of tech, CyberFun Tech. And this also tells us that there is nothing that CyberFun Tech might have something to do with it, but their intentions are not meant for the bad side of this. I'll pause it here because there's not much. This is a lot of promotional material. These are just like design parts. Purple guy! This is just the outfit they have to wear for the caretaker stuff. So this is probably a CyberFun Tech idea, but it has to go back to Finance Freddy's like always. But we see this on Brian and Sophie. We see that the robots can move around. They can be, through a console, they can be moved. And this is Charles, who is by a letter we see. There's a letter around here somewhere. Well, there's a letter in here that says that Charles here has become the computer supervisor for Bunny Smiles. And her being the head mechanic and now a CyberFun employee. They have facial tracking, which, guess what? Call back to episode 1 with this face right here. So when Brian Stells was getting killed by Bond, this face kind of appeared and started morphing around. So this had to do with, like, this was Brian's face getting mangled most likely. We kind of see why, this is probably why the style is the way it is because this is how the animatronics see them. It's probably why it looks so sharply in universe. Wasn't there a... Okay, apparently not. Here we get to see that Ed and Molly are moving around with Rocket. They get recognized by the facial software. And then we get this guy. This is known as the spirit that has taken over. So, the first. I'm sorry. Huh. Okay, so this makes more sense now. So it's very possible that Jack is the spirit for Bond. That wouldn't make sense for Ed and Molly to be the way they are. This upside down face. Let's go ahead. There's a little zoom in about him. There. I don't know who this guy is. This is weird. This is a face we haven't seen yet. This doesn't look like Mr. Where is he? This is Mr. Walten here. Yeah, he's got like very buggy eyes. So this and then like his hairstyle. I don't think Jack's gonna be our Bond, but he takes over Bond in July. But he goes missing earlier than that. So it looks like May is when Ed and Molly are possessed the thing, but the month later all the employees die. Anyways, let's go back into it. So there's them getting recognized. This is so the very end of July. This thing possesses Bond, kills Miss Susan, basically snaps her neck to makes her paralyzed, stomps on her and messes with her until she's basically a bloody mess, but she's still breathing. Jack goes to confront Felix, but there isn't much. I don't think Felix is here at this time. Here's Felix right after burying the kids. We do get to see him in the car crash. The car crash is somewhere. I don't want to. But anyways, we see the car crash. He's about to get rid of all the stuff, which we say right here. This shoe I think is pretty important. Let me transfer over. So I think Souvenir we got to see this. Yep. So we see Booze, which was Felix's fall. Why is it doing what it's doing? There we go. Okay. So we have Booze. We have a Bunny Smiles sign. We have a wrench that's probably have to do with Susan. We have an art piece, some flowers. And we have a baby doll. Okay, the baby doll might have to do with what we seen in episode 4 where there was that thing. So Souvenir did not get referred to with that shoe. That was just a shoe that he got rid of. He was going to get rid of the rabbit, but he stopped himself from doing it and kept it. He didn't say Jack. He eventually 3 days later told Jack and Rosemary about it. Told the entire incident. They were asking for Rocket so they can remember their kids about. He kept it without telling them and said that it was just missing and it was left at the school. Then he probably pushes it in the maintenance area after the Ed and Molly start haunting him. Like, hey, Uncle Felix, you know, we've possessed this thing that you're keeping around. Hey, we're technically still a part of your life. Have fun. So he probably thinks they're just like his stress getting to them. So he gets rid of it to, you know, stop remembering, stop hearing the voices. But because they were through it in the back, they got to witness what happened to Susan. And immediately, as soon as she gets put, as soon as she gets basically put in the suit, we get to see the farm, I'm going to call it, but it's technically some kind of middle ground between life and death because Susan is not dead from the spirit's explanation. He says, you're not dead, you will be eventually, but for you to still live without your body being worked, you'll be needing the new body. So basically he makes a new life by giving her a new suit, which is weird. But anyways, the kiddos were Ed and Molly. They can feel that Susan is in purgatory. So they go to find her, but almost immediately, as soon as she starts to get her bearings and trying to figure out where she is and what's happening, a thing known as Bond comes in and reveals itself, which we do get to see a little bit of it in the stuff. Let me go ahead. There he is. Yeah, this guy right here. He looks like he's a part of this space. Like he's a part of this purgatory. And he's explaining to Susan that, like, hey, I would like to make you more beautiful by putting you in this thing. And he calls himself Bond, so he doesn't have a proper name. But going with my theory, which we'll be going over here soon, basically he's able to talk her into wearing the Banny mask. And she takes over the identity as Banny. And Ed and Molly, they get there too late. They don't want to do much. They can't. Well, Ed doesn't want to interfere, but Molly's very, like, she wants to do the best she can for everyone. So that means Ed and Molly are working against the spirit, but the spirit is, like, powerful. It's like he's a god to this plane of existence. So going on to my Crooked Man theory. So why am I mentioning Crooked Man here? Well, it mostly just has to do with the upside down face that we see here when he's approaching Bond. Is why would his face be upside down and approaching it? So most people see Crooked Man with, like, the snapped, like, turned over neck. And what does he do immediately to Susan? He breaks the neck. So it's like he comes first appearance as this. He does this to his victims. And he makes a crooked life by giving them a very tormented prison. So basically it's just he looks like he's a spirit that's been wandering and he wants to mess with other mortals. So we all know the one of, like, he lived in a crooked house with a crooked cat. You know, everything in his life was crooked. But he would always kind of, like, scare kids. Where is it? So the Crooked Man who walked a crooked mile, he found a crooked sixpence against a crooked stile. He found a crooked cat who caught a crooked mouse, and they all lived together in a little crooked house. But the Crooked Man was sad, and once he had a thought, why should he be crooked when others they are not? Everything was worthless. He heaved a great sigh, and when he went and found a rope and tied it to the sky. So basically, this guy was messed up. He's looking for other people. He said why he should be crooked when others are not. So I think the Crooked Man is a big part of this. I think he is going to basically make everyone he can a new crooked life. That is my biggest thing, is just that one line, is why he should be crooked when others they are not. So anyways, it's almost been, it's going to be an hour. So we went over the complaints, we went over a little summary of 1 to 3, and we went over episode 4. Anyways, and we also did the little thing. So what my final thoughts of, this is a good episode. Episode 4 was the best, but not as good. Like it wasn't as hype as we thought it was. Like I'm happy that we got to figure out what Charles was in the story. So I think what's left in my mind is where is Jack? Because if the crooked man is Bond, is he the show bear, or can that be based on colors and stature and how it looks? Is that supposed to be Felix? We do not know. Actually, real quick, what does the crooked smile look like? Because we see a lot of imagery of a smile. The show bear had a very weird smile on. So it's like, yeah. Basically, I think the best thing we get to see is The Conjuring 2. That smile is what we see on Show Bear, and we see it in episode 4 come back. But that's really it. So basically, I think the Crooked Man is going to be our big villain, and he's making a Five Nights at Freddy's story for himself, and he's kind of making others' crooked lives by making it beautiful in his own crooked way. Jack is either out and about. A thing that I did notice in the teaser images is that I think he has a shovel. I think he went to go find the bodies of Ed and Molly to figure out what all has happened. He, along with others, questions the story about what Felix has told them. When Felix told Rosemary and Jack, he did tell him that he was drunk and driving, but everyone else thinks there's something else to it, which is very possible because there's a weird thing is why would he get rid of evidence and why would he get rid of Rocket the rabbit? Why would he try to hide Rocket the rabbit? Why would he not try to give as many details as possible to try to save the relationship and all that? Just like, hey, I screwed up. I let my laugh get out of hand. I know no one's going to heal because of what he did, but at least being truthful and honest would have saved him some pain with him. But anyways, Jack is probably onto something, and probably until Sophie gets in trouble, that might be our finale, is that Jack might come back and try to save Sophie, but it's a weird thing for him to try to bring his only living child into it. So I really think that it's going to be Jack and Sophie at the very end. Crooked Man is going to try to, finish up what he's wanting to play a game with these characters. And then we do still got to figure out what happened to Charles. Like, even though we know what he is and where he is in the story, it's just what happened to him. Because it's like we go from the missing of Jack to Susan, and then we have Rosemary, but we do not get to see what happened to Charles. We only figure out that he can't remember what his face looks like. We only know that he was put into the Buzu based on the minigame in episode 3. But, so my questions are, is it the Crooked Man? Where is Jack? How did Charles die? And is Sophie dead by episode 3's conclusion? Is she destined to die? Or did Jack and her get away to finish up the story? Did they get to resolve it and, live their little living crooked lives? Anyways, I will see you guys in the next one. I'm sorry this took so long, but I wanted to get this out before anyone else. So, bye-bye.